welcome to God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson. Reach him at GodsFiveMinutes@gmail.com. Now, here's Ed Wilson with God's 5 Minutes.
Hello, friends. Speaking of Palm Sunday, John wrote in John 12:20, "There were certain Greeks among them that came up to worship at the feast. The same came therefore to Philip, which was of Bethsaida of Galilee, and desired him, saying, Sir, we would see Jesus. Philip cometh and telleth Andrew, and Andrew and Philip tell Jesus. And Jesus answered them, saying, The hour is come that the Son of Man should be glorified. Verily, verily, I say unto you, except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abideth alone. But if it die, it bringeth forth much fruit. He that loveth his life shall lose it, and he that hateth his life in this world shall keep it unto life eternal. If any man serve me, let him follow me, and where I am, there shall also my servant be. If any man serve me, him will my Father honor." This little incident would seem of small importance to be included in the Bible, but in reality it is not, for it contains the promise that made salvation possible for you and me. The desire of few Greeks to see him was probably only a reflection of the popular enthusiasm. The addressing of the request of Philip is perhaps explained by the fact that he was of Bethsaida of Galilee, and had probably come into contact with these Greeks in the neighboring Decapolis on the other side of the lake. Philip's consultation of his fellow townsman, Andrew, who was associated with him in other places, probably implies hesitation in granting so unprecedented a request. They did not know what Jesus might say to it. And what he did say was very unlike anything that they could have anticipated. The trivial request was as a narrow window through which Jesus' yearning spirit saw a great expanse, nothing less than the coming to him of myriads of Gentiles, the much fruit of which he immediately speaks, the other sheep whom he must bring. The thought must have been ever present to him, or he would never have leaped to utterance on such an occasion. The little window shows us, too, what was habitually in his mind and heart. He, as it may be, hears the striking of the hour of his glorification, in which expression the ideas of his being glorified by drawing people to the knowledge of his love, and of the cross being not the lowest depth of his humiliation, but the highest peak of his glory, as it is always represented in this gospel, seem to be fused together. The seed must die if a harvest is to spring from it. That is the law for all moral and spiritual reformations. Every cause must have its martyrs. No man can be of fruit-bearing unless he sacrifices himself. We shall not quicken our fellows unless we die, either literally or by the not less real martyrdom of rigid self-crucifixion and suppression. But that necessity is not only for apostles and missionaries of great causes. It is a condition of all true, noble life, and prescribes the path not only for those who would live for others, but for all who would truly live their own lives. Self-renunciation guards the way to the tree of life. That lesson is urgently needed by our sensuously luxurious and eagerly acquisitive generation. The world's cries today are to get, enjoy, and Christ's command is renounce. And in renouncing, we shall realize both of these other aims, which they who pursue them only never attain. Christ's servant must be Christ's follower. Indeed, service is following. Jesus' cross has aspects in it in which stands alone, but it has also an aspect in which it not only may, but must be reproduced in every disciple. And he who takes the cross as for Jesus only, and not as a pattern of his own life, has need to ask himself whether his trust in it is genuine or worth anything. Of course, they who follow a leader will arrive where the leader has gone. No, our feet are feeble, and our progress is slow, and we have here his promise that we shall not be lost in the desert, but sustained by him shall reach his side, and last be where he is. The cry of these Greeks was, Sirs, we would see Jesus. The Lord wants you and I to take that cry as our own today, and we want to be the reflection of him to the world about us. Have you talked to God today?
You have been listening to God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson. Reach him by email at GodsFiveMinutes@gmail.com. Tune in next time to hear more encouraging thoughts from God's Word on God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson.